my dad said he wouldn't give me a job, so I had to show him.
Right.
So I went and got a job, and I coordinated an AFI movie that was a $250,000 grant, and then one did a couple movies for Ashok Amartraj, who then went on to become a pretty big producer.
Yeah.
But in the days that he was doing small indies, so yeah, been around for a while.
Wow. And so, did you ever go and get your degree, or you?
No, I kept working. I wanted to go back to study. I went back to UCLA because I kept, I started writing, and I thought, God, I'm a big fat liar, right? I don't really know what I'm doing. So I went and took a class, and I still felt like I didn't know what I was doing. But then at the end of the semester, the professor asked me to come and be his TA. And I kind of went, okay, if I'm lying to you and pulling it off, I don't need to be here. I need to be either with somebody who calls me on my lie, that I don't know what I'm doing, or just keep writing. So I just kept on writing. And everybody that I talked to, I had a lot of friends at that point who were in grad school for film, who said, listen, if you're not planning to direct, which I never was, your best experience is on the ground. Read a lot of scripts, talk to a lot of people, go learn how to make movies, rather than have this fantastical ideas of what it is. So I went and kept working in production, wrote a script, was lucky enough to get it optioned, then sold, had a big agency packaging it, and found out I didn't want to be a writer, which I consider the greatest gift of my life.
Well, you had said that you enjoyed giving notes, but it was tougher to receive them.
I think it had to do with youth. I think it also had to do with my idea of the process from the writer side that didn't mesh up with reality. I like developing material. I have a problem, especially in the 90s, which was a time where anybody could be a development executive. And so you had development executives that weren't necessarily qualified, who would give you notes about a movie in small town America going, well, maybe we can do this in Mexico. Can it be a Mexican family? Because I've always wanted to go to Mexico on vacation. So maybe we could go live there for a few months. And you just go, wow, what am I supposed to do with that? So it was, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy creativity by consensus. A lot of my writers love it, and I can certainly help them navigate through it. For me, it wasn't the thing. I would much rather develop material and work with writers than be the writer. To me, that was just a miserable experience. Doesn't mean it's miserable for anybody else, but for me, it just wasn't a fit. So I was lucky enough to know enough people to be able to quickly make the transition into development and start developing material.
Do you think that because you didn't have the pressure of student loans, that a lot of people that come here, and I also left at 17 and don't have a degree, and so I have a similar background in that sense, and you don't have the pressure of student loans and having to pay those off, that you're able to do stuff that's a little more creative and free?
Yeah, but I also, I was independent at a very early age, so for me it was rent. For me it was self-sustaining. I didn't, my parents were very much about, we want you to stand on your own 2 feet, which was fantastic. I think it gave me freedom, but I also, honestly, I very rarely see people make choices specifically because of their student loans. I wish they made more choices that would directly influence that. But my experience with film was always, you can study film appreciation. You need to see all the classics, and I've taken those classes over the years, ad nauseum. But for me, film and filmmaking is a very practical experience. So being on the ground, that was why I did it. It wasn't, I didn't want to take on the student loan or any of those things. It just really wasn't something that attracted me. I kind of felt like, why stop this train, right, of going out there and making movies and being in the industry and making contacts and being part of it, to go be in school in a make-believe world. Let's pretend that we're going to write something that's going to end up on the screen. Most films, most screenplays that are written in academia never see the light of days. Most movies you never make a feature in college. I made features all the time. I mean, I was production coordinator, production manager on them, but that was the world that I live in. So for me, it always felt like if I'm already in it, and I can take these classes between shoots and at night and go to film appreciation, film history, and study Godard and Fellini and all of those great filmmakers, and understand shot composition and directing rules and all of those things. Why do I need to stop? Why do I need to stop and go back to college for 4 years? It felt to me then like a step back. Of course, it's great to have a degree, but I don't find that in filmmaking, specifically for writers, a degree in screenwriting is what makes a career. I actually feel that film school is a lot more important for directors, because you get that short, you get those connections, you get to be the top short at USC or at UCLA or at Columbia College or NYU. It really is a place for a director to kind of cut his teeth and get a quality short together. Then again, and I will argue that side because I'm a Gemini, so that duality is always warring. In this day and age, with the access to digital filmmaking, you can make a great short anywhere. But I do think the directors need more incubating and considering how to storyboard something. Why do you storyboard it that way? What are the choices that you're making, a director? What is the color composition of a shot? All of those things, I think that falls into play a lot more in film school than writing for writers. I think that it used to make a greater impact going through film school with a focus on screenwriting than it does today.